You're a senior with osteoporosis or osteopenia, but everything you knew about how to strengthen bones is wrong. Calcium doesn't strengthen bones, and walking doesn't either. So what does? That's exactly what we'll cover in this video. Lots of people are extremely surprised when they get diagnosed with osteoporosis. Why? Well, for two major reasons. One, women who get osteoporosis are active, and two, they eat healthy. But here's the thing, when they say they're active, they mean they walk a lot, they do gardening, they play with their grandkids, etc. But they're not doing the activities that strengthen bones. And when they say they eat healthy, they mean they're not overweight, or they eat a lot of vegetables, or both. Too bad that neither one really strengthens bones. Let's look at what the research has to say. One meta-analysis concluded that walking as a singular exercise therapy has no significant effects on bone density at the lumbar spine, at the radius, that's the wrist, or the whole body in perimenopausal and postmenopausal women. So walking is good, but not for your bones. What about vegetables? In one study, 29,294 people in the control group and 19,541 people in the intervention group, they found that one group ate lots of vegetables and another group ate very few vegetables. After an 8-year follow-up period, there were almost an identical number of fractures. In other words, vegetables are great, but not for your bones. You need to exercise differently and you need to eat differently for bone health, which is not 100% the same as heart health. So how should you exercise? Well, it comes as no surprise that if osteoporosis and osteopenia is weak bones, we need to strengthen the bones. And what strengthens the bones? Well, strength training strengthens bones. And sure enough, the research backs this up. One study found a reduction in fractures by 62.8%. And again, I emphasize this is in fractures, not just bone density. Ideally, bone density correlates perfectly with fracture risk, but it doesn't. It correlates well, but not perfectly. But when you're looking at the endpoint of fracture risk, which is what really matters, strength training has a significant impact. Now, not all strength training is created equal. Some people think that going to a body pump class and lifting really light weights is strength training. It's not strength training, it's cardio with weights. It's not bad for you, cardio is great, but it doesn't strengthen bones. There's a specific way to exercise, to strength train for bone strength, which is different than diabetes or high blood pressure or PCOS or fatty liver, etc. So what is the right way to strength train for stronger bones? Well, when it comes to strength training, we need to know a few elements, a few parameters. One is frequency, how many days per week. Two is intensity, how heavy should the weights be. And three is sets and reps. Is it better to lift heavier weights for fewer repetitions or lighter weights for more repetitions? So let's cover that. Frequency, 2 to 3 days per week is optimum. 1 day per week will strengthen your muscles, but not your bones. 4 days per week hasn't been tested sufficiently enough to make any conclusions based off of that. Next is sets. If you are a complete beginner to strength training, your sets and reps should be approximately 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions. Repetitions above 12 will strengthen your muscles, but not your bones. So that answers the question of heavier weights for lower repetitions or lighter weights for more repetitions. Clearly, heavier weights for lower repetitions are superior for bones. Not necessarily for muscles, not necessarily for endurance, but for bones, heavier weights are superior. So again, if you are a beginner to strength training, three or so sets of 8 to 12 repetitions. If you are more advanced, or if you've been doing 8 to 12 reps for 3 months or more in a progressive fashion, in other words, you've been trying to increase your weight from time to time, you should go down to a heavier weight but lower repetitions. So 4 or 5 sets of 5 to 8 repetitions with extra emphasis on the areas where you have the worst T-scores. So for example, if you're doing one exercise for most body parts, but your lumbar spine has the worst T-scores, you should do 2 or 3 exercises for your lumbar spine. So there is our exercise prescription for bone strength, for osteoporosis and osteopenia. Now, strength training is good, but it's not the only form of exercise that strengthens bones. There is one other form of exercise that's actually quite potent, and it's jump training. Now, jumping is highly beneficial for the bones, but it's also risky for the bones. So how do you get the benefits of jumping without the risks of jumping? The way you do that is by doing strength training only for the first 3 to 6 months before you start introducing jumping progressively. You don't start jumping as high as you can right off the bat, you progress up to it. According to one study, 6 months of jump training improved bone density by 1.3%. Very impressive, considering jump training only takes between 5 and maybe 8 minutes. How do you do it? So again, if your T-scores are worse than -3.2, spend the first 3 to 6 months strength training only. If your T-scores are better than -3.2, you can get into pre-jumping right away. What do I mean by that? It's things like heel drops. If you don't know what heel drops are, there's a special video about jumping for osteoporosis on your screen right now and in the description below. The next stage is jumping onto something. So after 3 to 6 months of heel drops only, progressively by the way, so you start at 50 heel drops, go up to 52 or 53, 50, and you progress from there. After heel drops, you would then move on to jumping onto something. So jump, but then step down. Jump, step down. Why? Because the greatest impact, the greatest danger from jumping happens on the way down. So you minimize the way down in phase 2. And you stay there for 3 to 6 months while progressing over time. Again, you start maybe 50 jumps per workout, but increase it to 52, 54, 56, and so on until you get up to 100. Once you get up to 100, you move on to the next level, which is jumping up and down. By this point, you will have been jump training and strength training correctly, safely, progressively for a period of anywhere from about 9 months to about a year and a half, and your body and your bones are now ready to take the impact of jumping. So that's what you do in this phase. Again, if you want to go into complete detail, check out my video on that topic. And if you're wondering, what about jumping rope, jumping on a trampoline, or jumping in the water? The answer is, well, no, no, and no. The goal of jumping for osteoporosis is to increase impact on your body. What all these do, jumping rope, jumping in the water, jumping on a trampoline, they decrease impact. So while they might be good for cardio, they might be fun, they do not strengthen bones. Now, if you need help designing an exercise program specifically to your body, to your osteoporosis, and if you have osteoarthritis, etc., we have a special service just for you. If you click on the link in the description below, that'll take you to our homepage where you can fill out an application form for a quick 10 to 15 minute Zoom chat. During this Zoom chat, we'll discuss what's your situation and can we help you get there. There is no sales pitch, no obligation, nothing else that's funny or fishy. All it is again just to see what are you up to and can we help you get to where you want to be. The other part, the other secret to bone strengthening from a nutrition perspective is again not vegetables. Vegetables are fantastic for overall health, but not bone health. What helps bone health from a nutritional perspective? In one study of 125 postmenopausal women, their protein intake was analyzed and they were divided into 4 groups based on the amount of protein intake. Group number 1, less than 16% of their daily calories was protein. Group number 2, 16 to 18%. Group 3, 18 to 20%. And group number 4, over 20%. Here, what I like about the study is they looked at fracture risk. Okay, not just bone density, but actual fracture risk. And what they found is that in group number one had 16 fractures over the duration of the study. Group number 2 also had 16 fractures. Group number 3 had 7 fractures, and group number 4 had 5 hip fractures. So there was a significant difference in fracture risk between the lowest protein group and the highest protein group. What does that tell us? You need to eat an adequate amount of protein. Now, when people find out what adequate is, they think that's a high protein diet. It's actually not a high protein diet, it's just higher than what you're currently eating. What it actually is an adequate protein diet. Which begs the question, how much protein should you be eating? Well, protein requirements depend on 3 major factors. In no particular order is your current body weight. It's no surprise that a bigger person, a heavier person, requires more food to sustain their body than a lighter person. So your body weight is a huge determinant of how much protein you should be eating. 2 is your activity levels. Are you sedentary? Are you doing cardio only? Are you doing strength training only? Are you doing strength plus cardio? The more activity you do, the more strength training you do, the more protein you need. And finally is your age. Are you under 60 or over 60? People over 60 require more protein than people under 60 because their absorption of it is worse. And so I can't say specifically you need 98 grams and you need 112 grams because everybody's different watching this video. But if you want to know how much protein you specifically should be having, go to the link in the description below and that'll take you to a protein calculator to help you figure out exactly how much you are supposed to be having. Now, if you're wondering, what are the best protein sources? I divide protein sources into 3 major categories. Category number 1 is what I call grade A protein. The reason it's grade A is because it contains more than 30 grams of protein per serving. Grade B protein is my category, is between 10 and 29 grams, and grade C is less than 10 grams. So what is in grade A protein? Largely it's meat, fish, and seafood. All meat, all fish, all seafood fit the category of grade A protein. Okay, whether it's salmon or cod or chicken or turkey or beef or pork, they're all grade A protein. There's not a heck of a lot of vegetarian and vegan sources that meet those criteria, but a few of them are egg whites, protein powders, and tempeh. That's about it. Grade B protein, again, is 10 to 29 grams, and things that are in that category are things like beans, lentils, Greek yogurt, etc. Grade C protein is what predominantly vegans tell you is high in protein, but really isn't. Things like, well, cheese. Cheese is not very high in protein. 1 cube or 1 slice of cheese is only about 5 or 6 grams. One medium egg is 6 grams. One large egg is 9 grams. One glass of milk is about 9 grams. There's not a single vegetable that's above 5 grams per serving. So everything else in C can count towards your protein requirements, but it's not going to make a huge dent in it. Now, if you're wondering, why not calcium? I recorded an entire video about that, which is on your screen right now and in the description below, about the calcium myth. Every woman knows that she should be getting 1,200 milligrams of calcium per day. But where did that number come from and how accurate is it really? Check out that video to find out the answer. Another helpful supplement is actually vitamin K. In one study, participants were divided into 3 groups based on their vitamin K intake. One group was a control group. They didn't get any vitamin K. Group number 2 got 50 grams of dried plums per day. Why dried plums? Because they're high in vitamin K. And group number 3 got 100 grams of dried plums per day. After 6 months, what the researchers saw is that both the 50 and 100 gram per day group of dried plums, they maintained their bone density, but the group that got, the control group, they got no plums, they reduced their bone density. And if you're wondering, how much vitamin K should I be eating? The approximate recommendation is around 15 micrograms per day. And what are the best sources? Well, egg yolks contain about 67 micrograms per yolk. An eel contains 63 micrograms per 100 grams. Most cheeses range from between 10 to 55 micrograms per 100 grams, which is about 3 slices of cheese. Beef liver has 11 micrograms per 100 grams, and chicken has 10 micrograms per 100 grams of chicken. Now, there are also a few supplements that help you reduce vitamin K. One of those supplements. Another one of the best supplements for reduction of fracture risk is type 1 collagen. As for dosage, you need about 5 grams per day. If you like this information, I have a newsletter with lots more information about bone density, osteoporosis, and exercise. If you click on the other link in the description below, that'll take you to the page where you can subscribe to our newsletter, and you can always have the option about subscribing. And again, if you're wondering, what about calcium? Did I miss that? Why does calcium not improve bone density? Check that out on your screen right now and in the description below.